Well, good morning, fellow constitutionalists. This is Dan Clements of the Dan Clements Show. I'm your constitutional warrior, and I got another article here I want to share with you today. This is from Newsmax.com. Representative Mike McCaul, or McCaul, however you want to pronounce it, to Newsmax. COVID worst cover-up in human history. And this is by Eric Mack over at Newsmax. And basically what the article is talking about here is there's a report out by the House GOP. And the lamestream media isn't actually reporting this very much, and I don't know how long this video will stay up on YouTube. I've had a few taken down already about the election, that I was actually reporting facts that were in evidence, and they still pulled the video. They limited another one. It's nuts on YouTube. And so anyway, Mike McCaul is a representative from Texas. He's a Republican, and he was on Newsmax's Chris Salcedo Show. The House GOP report on the origins of COVID-19 in Wuhan, China, has evidence the virus was impacting the area in September 2019, and China failed to abide by a 24-hour mandatory reporting regulation for months, according to Representative Michael McCaul, Republican Texas, on Newsmax. This is clearly a major cover-up, I call it the worst in human history. House Foreign Affairs Committee ranking member McCaul told Tuesday's Chris Salcedo Show, noting China, World Health officials, U.S. health officials, big tech, mainstream media, and even congressional Democrats all suspect of this report. It all starts with China, McCaul told host Chris Salcedo. Now, before I read on, I was reporting this back in late 2019. I did a few things on my blog, on video, about how Stanford University out of California had found this, or it was reported to them, this mysterious illness out in California. And they could, they took blood samples, they saw the virus, never seen it before, didn't know what it was. It was an upper respiratory infection with flu-like symptoms. But for the most part, most of the healthy people just got over it. They actually did antibody testing on this, even though they didn't know what the virus was yet. And in LA County, they found some 400,000 people. They estimated about 400,000 people had already had it and had antibodies to guard against it. And this was this was like October, November 2019. The end of February 2020, I came down. They still didn't know what it was because China was still hiding everything. But I came down with the same symptoms they were reporting out in California. Lasted 5 days. I was running a fever, had a cough to begin with. That went away as soon as I got the fever. Once the fever broke, I just felt the punies, and then all was good. And once it all came out from China, when China finally released a limited amount of information, it was determined that I did have COVID. Although I just checked, and this is another side note, the nearest place that I can get antibody testing is a CVS down in New Cumberland. That's just south of Harrisburg, PA, about 70 miles away from me. My local CVS's, we have CVS's, we're lousy with CVS's all over the place here. None of them do it. I'm going to check with Evan to see if they do it. Geisinger told me, I used to get my lab work done at Geisinger. They told me they could send it out to a lab, but it would cost $300 to get the test. And I said, $300? And I went online, and there's a place I can spend $120 and go to a lab, get it drawn and sent to them, and then I'd get my results. But even then, I said, and not that I want the federal government to pay for the COVID tests, but I've been saying all along, if the government's going to pay for the COVID tests, they need to pay for the antibody tests, which I'm willing to pay. I'm not going to pay $120. At CVS, it's $30. And it's a rapid test, just like it's not like the PCR. This one actually just checks for the antibodies, not the COVID itself. So I'll be down in Cumberland next month, or down in Harrisburg next month. I'm just going to set up an appointment and go down there and get tested. But the two doctors that I confirmed, my old family doctor here and the VA doctors, they said the symptoms I had were consistent with COVID. And I've tested negative ever since. I've been tested 3 times now and tested negative ever since for the COVID. And I know I've been around people that have had COVID and been homesick, deathly ill with it. But anyway, that's just a side note about the antibodies when we're talking about this. They had a decision. The only reason I brought that up is because I gave you a little short history. It literally was here in the United States in late 2019. No matter what they tell you on the lamestream media, it was here in California. And trust me when I tell you, because I used to be a truck driver, used to go to California, there are tens of thousands of trucks in and out of California daily. Daily, folks. And they go cross country, they go to other states. Even if they don't go all the way across country, they interact with other truck drivers that are going across the country. So this virus was in the United States months before they said it was. And people weren't dying. Hospitals weren't filling up. They didn't start filling up until everybody was panicked about it. So I just want to give you a little clear timeline there. The article goes on. It all starts with China, McCaul told his host, Chris Salcedo. They had a decision under international health regulations after SARS in 2004. It was required to report this within 24 hours, he said. They defied the regulation for months. McCaul noted scientific evidence in September 2019 showing the pandemic had already started and they failed to notify the world, and now we have 4.5 million people dead. I want to put an asterisk after that. Not everybody died of COVID, but they were reported as died of COVID because they had it. Okay, I just want to put that out there. I'll probably get the video shut down just for that comment alone. McCaul pointed to evidence September 12th that entire genetic sequencing data that was at the lab was taken online or online to offline in the middle of the night, and they put millions into security. As a federal prosecutor, you don't cover up something if you have nothing to hide, McCaul said. According to the McCaul-led report, satellite imagery showed massive amounts of traffic going to the hospitals in September 2019. And this is nothing new. All this stuff that's in this report, people were talking about this back in the beginning of 2020. A lot of people that I follow were actually talking about this. And the lamestream media was not talking about it, okay? Now, let's see here. McCaul noted China's reaction to his report shows clear, Chris, this is getting under their skin. We must do something. We must be doing something right if I have the Chinese Communist Party at the highest levels targeting not only me, but the report itself and the committee, he added. The National Institutes of Health and its sub-grant, the EcoHealth Alliance, Peter Daszak, should also be brought under scrutiny, according to McCaul and the report. They knew full well what was going on. It was called gain-of-function research, genetic manipulation, where they took the bat specimens 1,000 miles away where the bat cave is that started SARS, and then came what's called genetic manipulation, gain-of-function, and that is where they start splicing the genes to create like super SARS-like virus with the expectation of making a vaccine, McCaul said. And this is something, if you've been watching the Senate hearings on this with Dr. Fauci, which I trust Dr. Zeus way more than I trust Dr. Fauci, the Institutes of Health, National Institute of Health, have changed the definition of what a gain of function means. And Senator Rand Paul was talking about we were on a federal pause not to be given any money to gain of function. They were investigating and see what all this stuff was about. And it wasn't necessarily about the Wuhan labs. It was just about gain of function entirely, because what they're doing is they're taking a virus in the lab and they're doing something to it that would not naturally occur in nature to make it more potent. Germ warfare. Can you say germ warfare with me? That's the word of the day, germ warfare. So we have all this percolating over in Wuhan, over in China. And we have the Senate hearings with Fauci, and Fauci clearly was getting upset because Rand Paul was really stepping on some toes and making him sore. I actually been reading, here and there the emails, Fauci emails that were dumped and released and everything, and there's clear evidence that they knew what was going on. They knew about the gain of function. They knew what was going on in the Wuhan labs, and and how China's been covering it up ever since. It just amazes me, folks. It just amazes me how the Democrats can still support the Chinese over America, especially with this pandemic that they actually caused. I'm just coming around and say it. They caused the pandemic. And they caused the pandemic throughout the world. But then we have a political class here in the United States, along with the lamestream media and social media giants, that created the response to the pandemic here, which is nothing more than institutionalized hypochondria. They had people jumping at their shadows. There are more and more every day reports coming out. If you go to, and I'll put this, I didn't put it in the link yet, I'll put it down in the description, Panda Data, it's called. You can just Google that, Panda Data. These are this is a group here that is sifting through everything. These doctors have been researching this all along. The lamestream media is ignoring them. A lot of centrally controlled governments, including the United States, is ignoring the results of testing. They're testing masks. One study, you can go look it up on Panda Data. One study was talking about how they asked the parents to collect the masks of the kids, and they were testing the mask and some of the horrible diseases that were on there. From pneumonia to flu to not hepatitis but meningitis and several other things that was on the inside and the outside of the mask. So the mask wasn't doing anything. Matter of fact, the mask is just a collection plate for this. You might as well say it's a paper petri dish for all these things. And there's other reports out there. Why aren't we doing more antibody testing to see where our herd immunity actually is? And they're not, because if they did, they would know that we've reached herd immunity already, even with folks like me that's had it. I'm going to make sure I have the antibodies, but, I've been testing negative. I know I've been around people, that have had it, didn't get it. Through the whole pandemic, if I wasn't going in the store, I didn't wear my mask. I'm a frequent hand washer as it is. I don't use sanitizers or anything like that. And I have a healthy immune system. I know I have some, I'm a little overweight. I've lost a lot of weight. My diabetes is under control, which my doctor's real happy with. He says, that means your immune system is going to be good. And it is. I take all my vitamins and supplements and my medication and stuff like that. My immune system, according to my last blood test, is excellent. I mean, it is firing on all cylinders. And that's what God gave us an immune system for, to help protect ourselves from these type of pathogens. I just wanted to bring us out, let you know that there's still things going on. I know that there's a lot of people out there that aren't going to like what I'm saying about this, and they don't like what the Republicans are doing. They don't like anything. Matter of fact, I think a lot of Democrat politicians don't even like themselves. So, you're at that starting point. So take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. And I always stress that. Do your own research. Do not believe everything you hear from the lamestream media. And please, don't take my word for it. Go out and research this. I'm just putting out this information that I've researched. You do your own research and come to your own conclusions. This has been the Dan Clements Show. I'm your host, Dan Clements, your constitutional warrior. Remember, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. We'll see you on the next video, folks.